Right. Hi. How are you guys doing? Julio Hernandez here, and I'm here with Marcus Giuliano. Is that correct?
That's correct, Guiliano.
Awesome. Awesome. So, Marcus, I have your book right here, and it says that you are an author, business coach, international speaker, owner, and executive chef at Aroma Time Bistro. Is this out of New York?
We're in New York. We're an hour and a half north of New York City in the beautiful Hudson Valley.
Awesome. Well, it is a pleasure to have you here with me today, and I'd like to know more about you, if it's okay. How did you get into the restaurant industry, and why did you decide to get into business coaching?
Sure. So why did I get into the restaurant industry? Well, growing up in an Italian family, food was important. So just that natural draw came to being a chef and cooking professionally. First, I was a waiter, busboy, all through high school. And once I graduated high school, I kind of figured out, hey, I want to make this restaurant thing a thing, but I want to be a chef. So that's how I originally got drawn in. And of course, all just the childhood memories of me and my grandmother rolling pasta and things like that kind of shaped that whole food passion.
Awesome. And so you're a business coach also?
Yes, I'm a business coach. I specialize in restaurants, do any type of business. Because a lot of this stuff is the same stuff. It's marketing yourself, it's branding yourself, it's communicating to your database, your guests, building relationships, and working on staff, unless you're a solopreneur. So I became a business restaurant coach because people kept asking me what I did because I saw that I grew a restaurant in the middle of nowhere, and the odds were so against us. And so they saw what I did, and people kept asking me, what's your secret? How'd you do this? Or you're an amazing marketer. I've heard that for so many times. You're amazing at marketing. You're amazing at marketing. And the more people that asked me questions, I said, I have to document this somehow. So I put up a blog and put up a YouTube channel and started talking about business tips. And 50 steps later, I said, let me put this into a book. And thus came the 50 mistakes that business owners make. And all those are mistakes that I made that I fixed and corrected, which helped me grow my business. And so wrote one book, wrote two books, wrote a third book. I write for Forbes Business Council. I just love sharing knowledge, and I really love working with business owners, restaurant owners, any type of business owner. I love working with them and showing them the light, showing them the marketing light. So it's all a lot of it is about marketing.
That's wonderful. You know what? One of the things that got my attention about you is that you wrote this book and 3 others. Is that correct? But the other thing that got my attention is that you are a digital marketer. Is that correct?
I love marketing. I love help other people marketing. I love marketing my own business and brand. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So what's been the biggest hurdle for business owners or for yourself that you've noticed when it comes down to marketing?
So what?
Restaurant.
Okay, this is great. So what's the biggest hurdle for other business owners? So the biggest hurdle would be their just lack of marketing. They don't understand that they need to be the ones marketing. And if they're not marketing, another business is going to outmarket them. A lot of people are resistant to new technology, new social media platforms. A lot of them are resistant to their phone and making videos, and all this kinds of fear and resistance just pushes them back. Or not, even if it doesn't push them back, it helps other businesses get ahead of you. Like basically, if you're not marketing to your guests, somebody else is going to market to your guests. And people don't understand. And let's face it, the last 10 years, there's been drastic changes, right? Facebook is just 10 years old to the public. You didn't market like that before. And people jump into things and they don't understand what they're doing. And one of the most common mistakes I see out there is people pay other agencies and companies, or they do it themselves. They start doing Facebook ads, and they don't set up their pixel properly. They don't have business manager. They're not doing things that require them to get so in depth with their digital marketing that they throw their hands up and say, "I tried it and it failed. I wasted $200. It didn't work. I've done ad after ad and there's no results," because they're doing ad after ad and they're not calculating ROI. They're not calculating what it costs to really build their brand. outside of the ROI. They're not grabbing people into a database. They're not retargeting them, remarketing to them. They're doing it very haphazard, and they get frustrated and said, this doesn't work. And they just throw their hands up and leave it at that. And, for me, the biggest challenge in marketing is what platform do I use first? Because I see the value on so many great platforms and methods. So for me, it's like, I want to do a Facebook Live every day. I want to do a YouTube video every day. I want to send an email out every day. I want to do an Instagram post. I want to do a Facebook post. I want to do a Facebook event. I want to do, that's my challenge. Where do I start? Because I have so many great options to market my business.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off right there. But yes, you're completely right. But at the same time, there's this fact that restaurant owners, they wear too many hats. So what would you recommend someone who's just starting to look into marketing? Maybe they already have a restaurant and they're doing print advertising, magazines and newspapers and whatnot. But what would you recommend them to start doing digitally? Yes.
Okay, great. This is a great question. Because it is very confusing, and where do you start? What do you do? And let's say you don't know much about it, and do you have the time to really dedicate to this? Is a question. So there's a couple routes you can go. You can hire somebody, an outside agency, that's probably a little bit disconnected from your business, or a lot disconnected from your business, and they're using a cookie cutter program or platform to cover, all 50 of their accounts, right? So what you're posting is the same thing they posted on other restaurants, and it's nothing personalized. You can actually, that's one step that a lot of people take. And from there, they say, well, this stuff doesn't really work and I'm paying a lot of money for it, right? One thing is you can do it all yourself, which then requires a lot of time and a learning curve, but you kind of know that, hey, it's getting done better than me paying somebody. There's also another way where you can do a sort of half done for you service where you are the mastermind behind the program, the platform, the strategy, the mastermind behind the strategy, where you're directing people how to execute your thoughts, your brand, and there's going to take a little bit of time in that, right? But it's not going to take as much time as you doing everything yourself. So between those three platforms, I recommend you have your hands in it to a certain amount, and that you either hire somebody on staff or you work with an agency that really understands that you need something customized to work for you. And I suggest the best way to get into this kind of where to start and what do I need to learn is you get a good business coach. This is what all my clients, they love when there's a coach there to tell them and guide them and put them on track, hold them accountable, because that's really the one thing why people don't succeed is not held accountable. They're afraid of failure and the fear to make a move, so they're like, we're just socially wired to, to have to be socially like we have to be accepted, and if we fail, we're not accepted. So they kind of just sit in the back seat and don't really try anything. But when you're held accountable, that's when things really start happening. So a business coach can hold a client accountable for learning the strategy, learning the techniques, and then accountable to hire somebody to execute under their guidance. And that's where I find the most successful platform out there, because you don't have enough time yourself because you need to delegate. And if you hire somebody else, like I said, there might be a big disconnect. So you have to really work with the agency and understand what's going on, or somebody in-house.
That's a very good point. I highly recommend people to listen to that one point right there, because me as a restaurant agency that focuses solely in restaurants, I find that to be very, very beneficial. So your book, how can they contact you, or how can they order it? Because I was reading through it yesterday. I got it yesterday, yes, and there's some really good points right here. How can they get it? And second of all, what are the three most important advices out of this book that you can highlight?
Great. Okay. Great questions. How can they get the book? Perfect question. We're going to drop a link. I'm going to have Lavinia drop a link on this where they can get the book for free. They just pay a couple bucks to ship it. I don't know if she's on. She's actually having a hard time finding the live.
Actually, you can comment it. You can comment.
I can comment. Okay.
And I'll showcase it.
Okay, so perfect. So that's what we'll do. I'll leave a comment here in a few minutes on how to get the book for free. We'll just pay a couple bucks for shipping. So what are the three top things in the book, right? Like, so where do we start? First of all, you need to be your own marketing maniac. You need to really understand that your job every day when you walk into your place of business as an entrepreneur is, how am I going to tell people about my brand, my business? And with that mindset, that's where you go. You have to think of yourself as like a PR agency, a media agency, before you're the actual business owner. Now, a lot of people have businesses because they're in this massive passion for what they do, and that's why they follow this passion route. Some people, inherited a business, it was a hand-me-down, and they might not have that much passion into it. The bottom line is, nobody knows your business in either of those scenarios better than you, the owner. So when they hear the owner talking about the brand, the products, the service, that goes a long way, and that helps with the likability factor. People will start to like you, and you're likable. Hopefully you're likable on camera or in whatever message you're sending, where people feel comfortable doing business with you and they love your message because it has great content. So the number one step in the book here, the number one step is to build your database. That's your number one goal as a restaurateur, as any business owner. Build the list. And I talk about several ways to build a list. So step one is, your number one asset in any industry is that what they used to call the mailing list, and people still refer to it as the mailing list. Your database mailing list, aka emailed subscribers, whatever, birthdays, your list is your most important asset. With that, that's what you work and work and work. It's 6 times easier to get somebody in the restaurant the second time versus the first time. And a lot of people out there, they think placing a blind ad in print is, you're going out there fishing a new pond every single time, not knowing what you're going to get. Now, take all your customers, put them in one pond, in one bucket, and keep fishing that one bucket. You're going to get more results than switching ponds all the time. Now, I'm not saying don't switch ponds. I'm saying build a database, switch ponds to bring new people into the database, and keep working that so one feeds off to the other. And I explained this to people. I did this the speech the other day in New York City at the restaurant show. And if your restaurant burnt down tomorrow, how do you tell people when you're reopening again? You don't place an ad in a newspaper or a magazine. You send your list of 15,000 subscribers. Hey, we'll be back open in 6 months. In the meantime, if you need this or that, or here's our recipe for our soup, if you're feeling, like you miss our soup or something. And then as you build up to your opening day again, you hit the list, get them back in. But without that list, you're losing valuable communications. That's just one way this works, because people are going to say, well, I have never had a fire in my restaurant, and that may have never pertained to me. Let's say you want to sell your restaurant. And you say, okay, I'm asking, $1 million, $500,000, whatever the price is. And somebody says to you, well, is it worth that? The buyer, I don't think it's worth that. And you say, well, yeah, I do, $1.5 million a year in sales. Well, where's the list to prove it? How many people are on that list? If you sell your restaurant and say, hey, to the new owner, here's 15,000 people in this database that are proven customers of mine. These are proven guests. And here's how you contact them. That's the goal. That's the money. Or if you're the owner and you're selling, you take the list with you. If the new owner's not smart enough to ask, take the list with you. You wait till your do not compete clause is over, right, or whatever. And if you're opening 5 miles down the road, 25 miles down the road, you email everybody on that list, send them postcards, grand opening. Hey, I'm back in business. Did you miss me? And that right there will boost your business like no other thing, to have a database built on opening day. And I recommend that restaurants build their database long before they open. If you know it's a 6-month process to open a restaurant. Sometimes a year we work with clients before they open. Put a sign outside. Get the text message thing going. Text us for free food. Grand opening soon. Get people started into a database. Put a QR code out there. Put a website. Put some kind of lead magnet to grab them in. And when you open up, you should be packed because you're working the database. And you should have 2-3 grand openings, because you have so many people on a list that are waiting to come try you. And that's the reality of this. And people just say, well, it's an afterthought. I didn't have time to build a database. I didn't have time. I know restaurateurs that say, I don't even have time to build a website before I open. Delegate it out. get it done, get the thing up, hire somebody who's qualified, and obviously read and study people that are in the industry that are successful and see what they're doing with this, because there's a specific scientific formula for doing what I'm talking about, and it takes time and practice, but there's techniques that are proven to work over and over and over again. And opening your door in a great location is not enough anymore. Providing good food and good service is not enough anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely understand that, because that's exactly what you and I do for restaurants. So, well, at least on my side. So what do you say to that one business owner, restaurant owner that says, but I don't want to spam people, I don't want to spam my customers? What would you say to that kind of person?
I'm sorry, they want to do what to their customers?
I don't want to spam my customers, my guests. Spam them?
I'm sorry, I guess I don't quite understand spam. I don't want to spam them. You know what? If you're not spamming them, somebody else is. And I had this conversation twice this last week. They're like, well, they're just gonna delete my email. But for them to delete your email, they had to think about you, and you're on their mind, right? Because they took action. They hit the delete button. Who cares if they deleted the email? They took action on you, and that you're going to be on top of their mind. If you just hit them at their inbox, 2-3 days a week. Now, there's a formula for emails that I reveal in my academy and a little bit in the book. And you send an email out, you see who opens it, you see who doesn't open it, you retarget the people who didn't open it. If somebody hasn't opened an email in 60 days, they go into a different bucket, you work them more aggressively. If somebody's opening an email every week, you don't hit them as much as somebody. So there's certain formulas to communicate differently, and a lot of people don't treat their email database like that. You have to treat your email database just like Facebook. Know their actions, know their likes, know their engagement, their disengagement, and everything in there, their behaviors, their clicks, every click they link has to be associated with a tag or with a bucket or putting them somewhere with an action. Because if they're clicking beer links in every email, they're a beer fan. Don't send them something on something else they're not interested in. Send them the people that are clicking the beer links. Separate those people out in a separate list and hit them with every beer email you have, because they're engaging in beer. Now, I mentioned something like if people don't open an email, they get at a higher elevation. So if people don't open an email for us on my business in 60 days, they get a different offer or a different message than people who open every week, because they're two different people at that point. And people treat an email list as one list, one message, one email, and you're going to get people that you're sending out beer emails to that don't like beer, and they're going to consider that spam. But again, if they hit delete, you're still on their mind. So let them hit delete. It's because you're still taking an action.
Absolutely. All right. So once again, your book, how can they get it? And actually, there's a link right there right now on the video feed on Facebook right now.
Great.
So there's a link right there, which is Restaurant Master Coach.
Restaurantmastercoach.biz.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. So that being said, well, thank you very much. It's been a great conversation. And what else would you like to talk about?
Oh, wow. There's so much to talk about, right? The restaurant industry is fun, fascinating. Marketing is amazing. Once you learn how to become a marketer and really learn how to promote your business, that's when things change. And you have to be a self-promoter. You have to be a marketing maniac. And here's my one word of advice to people. Video is going to lead the way. It's leading the way. By 2020 and next year or two, video's it. We all have the power on our phone, on our smartphone, to make high quality videos. Just press record, press live, get your message out there. Don't be afraid to do it. Because if you're not doing it, somebody else is going to be doing it to your guests. That's the bottom line. People are going to be reaching them. Every day we see 2,000 to 7,000 messages a day on advertising, all right? I'm sitting in my office here and I see brands of boxes. I see everything, right? There's all kinds. We're being stimulated everywhere. You get in your car, you drive, you see signs, you see billboards, you've seen stores, you've seen the truck next to you has a logo on it. There's a tow truck, a shipping truck. Every day we're seeing a message, and you have to get your message out there, and the best way to do it right now is video. And people want to know that you're a real person, so it doesn't need to be perfect. People wait for the perfect moment to make a video, the perfect hair day, the perfect sun. Just press record, press live, and get your message out there. People only buy products. 10% of the actual buying is done because it's actually a good product and good service. The rest of the people that are buying products are stimulated somehow by the message to be drawn in to go buy the product. So again, good location, good product, good service is not enough anymore. And this happens all over. I see restaurants that have amazing locations that they're saying I'm being out-marketed by other people on the opposite side of the block. I'm like, yeah, because this is how you get people's attention now. You get people's attention digitally. And if you're not doing it, somebody else is going to do it. So just press record, press live. Don't be afraid. Be a real person. And the more you do it, the better you're going to get.
Awesome. Perfect. Yeah, just press record. And guys, get this book. It's absolutely amazing. And I highly recommend it right here. 50 Mistakes Business Owners Make. And it's focused on the restaurant business. And Marcos Guiliano, thank you very much.